week in history, our focus is the signing of the Magna Carta in 1215, a pivotal moment that influenced democracy and the way systems of government operate today. Clauses in the Magna Carta are echoed in the U.S. Bill of Rights, for example, now part of our Constitution, and the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In 2015, the British Library opened an exhibition of 2 of the 4 copies of the original Magna Carta to celebrate its 800-year anniversary. Leading up to the signing of the Magna Carta, a tyrant, King John, ruled England. King John could do as he pleased and considered himself an exception to the laws. He forced his barons to pay taxes to fund his expensive wars, but the barons didn't really have a say in how that money was spent. Ultimately, he owned all of England, and he could throw anyone in prison even if they did not commit a crime. The barons revolted, captured London, and forced King John to sign the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta established the first constitutional monarchy. Now no one is above the law, including the king. The Magna Carta also established no taxation without representation, with a guarantee that if the citizens must pay taxes, then they must also have a say in how the community is run, and have their voices represented in an official way through voting. Furthermore, the Magna Carta established the individual's right to a fair trial. The origins of Western political thought lie in ancient Greece among 3 famous philosophers, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Socrates was Plato's teacher, and Plato was Aristotle's teacher. These 3 philosophers studied the human individual, civilization, and justice. What we know of Socrates is from the writings of his students like Plato. Socrates was a soldier during the Peloponnesian War, but is best known for his philosophy about human civilization as a teacher. Most of the ancient world relied on narratives of ancient gods to explain how the world works, but Socrates challenged this approach and wanted to focus on how the world works independent of the gods. His ideas were radical at the time, and Socrates was charged for corrupting the youth by refusing to recognize the gods that were officially recognized by the government. Socrates was sentenced to death. This famous painting depicts the death of Socrates declaring his innocence just before he takes a sip of poison. However, his ideas did live on through his students, most notably Plato. Plato analyzed how humans should be ruled. Greece had recently suffered the effects of the Peloponnesian War, and by that time, more individuals were open to the idea of a better way to operate as a society. He believed wise philosophers should be appointed rulers, and described other individual roles within a human society. Later, Plato's student, Aristotle, tutored Alexander the Great. When Alexander the Great's father ruled, he captured Aristotle's hometown and imprisoned its people. Aristotle agreed to tutor his son in exchange for the freedom of his people. Aristotle described government systems, identifying the self-interest and greed of a tyranny as the most unjust. Aristotle also described ethos, the Greek word for equality of people, as a requirement for a just society. The ideas of these 3 philosophers re-emerged in popularity in the Age of Enlightenment during the European Renaissance. There are many other philosophers whose ideas inspired the Magna Carta and who have interpreted it since. Questions to consider for further research are: which ideas of ancient Greek philosophy parallel those in the Magna Carta? Which other philosophers, Greek or not, parallel ideas in the Magna Carta? Which laws today parallel those in the Magna Carta? What are the different types of systems of government? And what does Plato say about the 4 types of systems of government?